Okay, so this is going to be the tutorial on how to build a topographic map. It's an unshaded topographic map, so it won't have the shadows on the hills, things like that. There's two types of topographic maps. There's a shaded relief, which is what that's called, and a flat, essentially a flat shaded map, which has got no shadowing on it at all. So, to start with, we need a copy of the actual minimap from the game as a reference point and to build the image from. Once we've got that, then we need to turn that off so it's not visible. We need to add a new layer from visible and call that base, and that's going to be bucket filled with our background color white. That's going to create our white paper base layer. For the map, turn that off. We're going to add a new layer from visible. We're going to do a few of them. I think I need 5. I can't remember exactly. No, that's not what I want anyway. So we need forest. We need scattered. We need roads, and we need buildings. We also need to open and import our contour lines level into it by selecting all, copy, close that, and paste as new layer. Then we need to open our waterline image, or if like me you've filled it already, then the water line with water in it image, and select all of that, copy it, and then paste that as a new layer as well. And I will turn on the base white color, so as you can see we're already kind of part way there. Now we turn on our image map. We're going to turn off our base, and we're going to turn all these off for the moment. I'm going to rename these contours and waterline. So we're going to, now contours need to be on the top level to start with, and the waterline can be the next one down, that's fine. We'll work that out later when we're stacking layers. So I'm going to start with the buildings first, because that's the simple sort of part of it. So topographic maps generally have a simple square, black filled square that represents a building, pretty much of any size, unless it's a substantial building. I imagine, you know, they may have some sort of shape or something, but for most purposes we just need a black square. So black, I'm just using the pixel, 1 pixel size brush. I'm making it size 20 so we can see it's about this size. I know from previous experience I want to make a gate symbol to fit in here, so I'm just going to offset this one a little bit. Oops, I need to undo that. I need to be on my buildings layer. Okay, and now I'm going to go right down the bottom to the other one, which is going to be the same, our little border control gatehouse. I'll go back up to the top because I want to start at the top and work my way down. And it's just a case of adding one of these per building. If you can remember your buildings when you laid them out, that's very handy. I can remember most of them, so I know this one's one, and that's one, and that's one, and it's another one, I think that's the 4th one. I think there's at least 2 here, 2 here. I This is 1 and 2 here. There's one there, one there, one there. Just basically do this for all of them. Now when it comes down to these ones at an angle, they really should be on an angle, so we need to adjust the angle. It's a bit hit and miss. You probably get the hang of what the angles look like once you've done a few. I might go a little bit further. Looks like about 45 or something. No. That one there, and I'm going to go back a bit. That's close enough for that one. Okay, now I'm also going to step down the size a little bit for these market buildings, because even though I've used them elsewhere and I've gone over the top of them, it's going to differentiate them a little bit better. Okay, so that's all my buildings done. Now, ruins, excuse me, ruined buildings or broken buildings, I've got a few in here. Okay, so the ruined buildings are going to require a lined box around, not a solid box, not a solid square. So the easiest way to do that is to get the, what I'm looking for, eraser, and drop it down. I think I dropped it down that much. Oh, lose focus. Like so. And carefully line it up and hit that. Okay, I think that's all my ruined buildings done. Okay, so that's the buildings done. I'm pretty sure I've got all the buildings done. So I'm now going to save as. That's what I want to do. Save it as, and it's promptly forgotten where I'm working. Save it in here as that. So buildings are done. I'm going to leave them turned on for the moment. It's not a big deal. Okay, so roads is next. Now the roads are basically just created with a path tool. So going to a path tool. This is where I'm going to need my where is it Topo Map Legend again, which is in downloads. So open my Topo Map Legend again, which will have my colours on it that I want to use. I'm going to sit that just in here so I can see it. I'll bring it down a bit. Okay, so my road colours are going to be this red, so I'm going to do that. Doing the solid line ones is easy, so I'm going to start going through and do all those, and when I'm done I'll come back and show you how to do a dashed line. This one in particular here, this road just meanders from nowhere, but you know, in theory it goes around over the hills or something, so I'm just going to run a path, make sure you're in design, not edit, path through here roughly. Try to center it on the middle of the road as best you can. Doesn't matter if you end up with straight lines, as long as the straight lines are mostly line up so you don't get too jaggy an edge, but again it's not a huge deal. Corners, you want to go and put a point at each corner. Alright, I've finished laying them out. Now it's a case of going to edit and dragging out handles. Now that I've done all of those, I can go through and apply a stroke to all of them. I've already got my red colour selected in here. So I'm going to go stroke path. Now for the main roads, I think from memory I made them 8 solid line. Let's see what happens. So I can't remember. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So let's turn that off. Let's get out of so alright, so that's going to be, that's my main road, main sealed road line. That looks pretty good. We'll go and do the same stroke for these ones as well. We should have nice roads. Okay. Secondary roads are a dashed line, so again it's going to be the same deal with laying out new paths and then stroking them. So I'm going to just go through and do these roughly. I'm going to go and set all these out and come back again. Okay, I finally finished setting all them out. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off my main roads because I don't want to, in fact, turn off my main roads for the moment. All the rest of them are my minor roads, so I'm going to merge visible and minor roads, and then these ones, which are my main roads, I'm going to merge them into main road. My minor road, I'm now ready to stroke that again with this red colour, but this time I'm going to use a dashed line, and it's going to be 6 pixels wide because I want it slightly thinner, and long dashes with just a little bit more gap. Yeah, that's not bad. I could be happy with that. Okay. So we've now got our major and minor roads in. The next one is walking tracks, of which there will be a few, but not too many. I will lay out the paths for those and then come back again. Okay, I've now laid out all of my footpaths, those paths that you would consider to be public access paths. I'm going to merge visible paths and I'm going to stroke these again in red, but I'm going to stroke them in 4 pixels, should be enough, yeah. And a line style I'm going to use is going to be, let's see what dense dots does. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So there are our little walking only paths. Okay, the next bit we have to do is we've now done all of our roads. We've done all our buildings, we've got our waterline, and we've got our contours. The next bit to do is the forested area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off all these to get rid of the clutter. We're going to go to forest, and that's going to be just a case of putting a path around around the areas that are forested. These scattered trees out here I'm going to consider as a scattered layer. Anything that's got brown on it, which is my forest paint layer, I'm going to make forests. So I'm going to roughly go around these areas. Okay, I've done all my forest bits that I'm going to worry about anyway. So I'm going to get all of these forest bits and merge visible paths, make them forest. Scattered foliage now, which is all this scattered stuff around the outsides. When I do it, I'm going to be circularly going around and doing chunks so that I can leave the town centre part where there is no scattered foliage. Well, there is scattered foliage, but it's not part of it. I'm going to leave that white. So what I'm going to do is I'll start at the top and I'll start putting out curves, and I'll come back when I've got them all set. I'm now finished that. Now hopefully I'm going to merge these. Now hopefully I can get this to work. Alright, let's start off with, let's turn this off. Let's turn that on. Let's turn our waterline so we can see our river. Now, my contour is on. Okay. Forest, I'm going to now fill the forest with the dark green here, or the darker green. Fill path, solid color, fill. Yes, that's worked. So that's my forested area is done. go back and we'll go to scattered layer, go to the scattered paths layer, and we will fill that with the light green. Channels, we need that one on top. It's looking good. Now we've got our roads and buildings and contours on top. Okay, I'm just going to turn off that path and see what we've got. That's looking pretty good so far. I'm pretty happy with that. Now the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some fences and roads, fences and walls. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn all this off and make another layer from visible. I'm going to call it fence walls, and I'll turn on my minimap layer. This is where I put in my fences. I've decided I'm not going to bother with the gates at the moment. I'm just going to put in fence works. So again, back to paths, and we shall make a new path starting up here. Now let's start from here. I know it goes out on an angle like this. Up this way somewhere. Fences of course can be straight, so we don't have to worry about trying to make nice fancy curves. Now this one goes okay, I think I've got all my fences in place. The ones that I need to be concerned about anyway, so I'm going to merge those, call them fences again. Fences will do for fences and walls, I don't care. Okay, now the last thing I need to do is I need to make the little lines for the bridge marker. So again, paths, and this is going to be tricky because I haven't really done this. I'm going to use I'm going to go like that, use that as a guide. These are going to be pretty rough, I'm thinking. So these ones I know, let's turn on my road because I know that they have to be, the stroked lines have to be up against the road. I'm going to move, hang on, let's go on to history. Let's go here now. I'm going to move this, move this in a bit, and I'm going to move this, god damn it, move this in a bit, and I'm going to duplicate that path, and I'm going to move it all the way down. Oh my god, move! All the way down to here. Right, going to now merge them all, rename them bridges because it always loses the name. Stroke 4 pixels black, and I don't know why that did that. Our bridge markers in. Our fences are done, the bridge markers are in. So we've done all our things that I can think of. The bridges are going to be in fences and walls, that's fine, I don't mind with that. The fences, I'm going to have to stroke probably 2 pixels black again, but I'm going to use this dot dash line. Okay, so now I have my fences in for my little compounds and my pretend borders. Okay, I'll go in and turn everything on now. And we'll turn on the base. And we should have something resembling a topographic map, simple as it may be. Right, so now that I've got everything done, as far as I want to do anyway at this point, the next stage is to, let's save the project again. Okay, I'm going to get all of these, I've got my 2 map files turned off. I'm going to get all of the stuff that I've made now, and I'm going to merge visible layers, and then I'm going to export as that, which is my topographic map, the TGA version of it. It's going to do its thing, and I'm going to go in here and go to the undo so that I get my layers back, which has already been saved anyway, but get my layers back. I don't need that anymore, they can go away. Okay, so I've just saved that, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it. I've actually removed that layer because I don't need it in this thing, so I'm going to put this to bed for a sec. Hang on. Open my TGA version, put this one over here. Now I'm going to do a little work on it to make it a little bit nicer. So it's very bright and colourful at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the brightness down a bit so we can dull it down a bit. Maybe contrast. Okay, that I'm going to desaturate it a little bit. Not too much. Okay. That's looking okay at the moment. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, now I'm going to open the map with the boundary on it. I'm going to select all, copy, and I'm going to paste it as a new layer in here, and I'm going to use that to make a selection that I can use to do the boundary like so. And I'm going to invert the selection. I'm going to turn off that layer, and now I'll go up to my brightness contrast, and I'm going to turn the brightness down, and I'm going to turn the contrast down. Might turn it down just to so some of the outside is still visible. Okay, do that, and then I'm going to do that again. I think that's pretty good. I'm going to deselect and have a look, and there's just the very faint telltale of the rest of the map in there. So that, as it stands, is complete, ready to go into the game. So we've gone through and we've created our per layer topographic features, and then we've exported it into a single image to then do this stuff. You really have to do the border and that, and the fiddling of the image as a single image. Okie doke. That's it.